Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Monkey Caviar Podcast Network. This is Where's Carl, back after what seems like years of being away from you fine people. We are back. We're doing a little love-hate tonight. We're going to talk about some of the characters we love, some of the characters we hate, some that we wish would come back on the show. And I have a theory about Carl's bite that I'm going to throw out there later. And minds will bend. Minds will bend.
Yes, they will.
But I did some research today, and IMDb lists Chandler Riggs for 115 episodes, which puts him at the finale of this season.
And it's entirely possible that we see him stick around for this time, but it also might just be the fact that they counted up how many episodes there were in this season and put him down for the entirety of the season.
I would think that too, except Carol only has 113 listed and not 115. So
interesting.
Maybe the count is right.
Maybe, but there's also some episodes where the characters don't show up at all too, and they might take that into consideration. But
I agree, but I got a theory. It's not a great theory.
We will find out. We will find out a week in a week, Sunday.
In a week, yeah. All right, so we in our off time, we decided to take a look at the 5 characters we each love, the 5 characters we each hate, and the 5 characters we wish would come back. And one of mine is not necessarily dead, but I want him to come back. But that's how we're going to roll. So we're going to start with the wish list of who we would like to come back. You want to go first?
Sure.
Sure. What do you got? Give me your number 5.
Well, I don't have them in any particular order, but
okay.
I'll just...
All right, just roll.
One of the characters I really like, and I kind of miss because I think he was interesting and interactions with another character on the show were quite entertaining, is I'd like to see Merle come back.
Merle. I can't help but love Rooker.
I love Michael Rooker.
The man will still accept, would you like a chocolate-covered pretzel if you shake his hand? And that alone makes Rooker cool in my book.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean... The interactions with Daryl made for some really interesting character development. Seeing, this is what Daryl was like before the apocalypse, and, seeing the way that Daryl went as opposed to the way Merle stayed the same, to really add some depth to his character. And, some of the moments where they reunited later on, like, in Woodbury and things like that, made for some really interesting, dynamics and tensions between these two characters.
I agree. And plus that badass stump weapon stabber thingy that he had was
that
friggin' badass.
That post-apocalyptic cyborg arm.
Second coolest weapon of the apocalypse, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Only behind the katana. It's number 1, of course. Like that would be a shock to anyone.
Exactly.
All right, I'll take my. I'll think of. I like that one. I didn't have Merle on my list, so that's good. Winslow. Do you remember Winslow when Rick is thrown in the fighting arena amongst the Black Parade?
Oh, the armored zombie.
The armored zombie with the spikes all over him. Fuck right, Winslow. I want Winslow back. I want Winslow's storyline. I want backstory on how Winslow became Winslow. I want it all, and I want one big, just 1 hour, just a pocket episode of Winslow. I think that'd be awesome.
Winslow pre-apocalypse, Winslow, becoming a zombie and finding his way into the junkyard and then getting outfitted the way he is. Yeah, that'd be a fun story.
And then getting his ass kicked by Rick. And then, it's a perfect story. I would love to see it. And I think we all would. I think Winslow's one of the funnest. The first time you saw Winslow, your butt puckered just a little bit, like
just a little bit,
badass. That's really badass.
I mean, talk about weaponizing a zombie. I mean, the zombies are bad enough as it is, but when you outfit it like one of those things like that, I mean, with armored head and the spikes, I mean, geez, what can you do at this point?
It's so far beyond anything that anyone else had thought of in using walkers. Like Negan's put him on the fence and everything. It's like, oh, don't come in here. But they didn't fully weaponize them like Winslow.
Well, I mean, even with Eugene, like covering them with molten steel to protect their heads, that was even, you know, a step up, but
Stroking genius.
it still was a far cry from Winslow.
Right. He can Smithy on him all he wants. It's not going to help. You get
Yeah.
Michonne with a couple of Winslows on chains, and it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, the only problem is, like, Michonne's not careful. One of those Winslows will, like, walk up right behind her and skewer her, though. You know?
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so I had Winslow as number 5 on my list of
Nice.
people to come back. Who else you
got? Dale.
Dale. Oh, see, I like Dale. Dale was all right.
I like Dale. Dale was a great, like, moral compass for the group. I mean, he was one of those guys that, you know, no matter what, always kind of had that sense of right and wrong. And he did his best to try and, you know, be that moral voice for the group, no matter what was going on. Yeah.
Go
what were
ahead.
you saying?
I think it's a character type that's been missing since Herschel died.
Yeah. Yeah. Herschel did a great job of filling in for Dale, but, you know, Dale and Herschel had their differences too. You know, Dale was this retiree that, you know, just so happened to be out and about when this whole thing happened, and, you know, spending his golden years, you know, traveling with a group of survivors. And in the comic book, I mean, even better, the guy ended up nailing Andrea and her sister.
I know,
you know,
right?
Yeah, we didn't see that in the show, but, you know, you got to give props to this old man, you know, for banging a couple chicks in his Winnebago, you know, while the world's falling apart around him.
The apocalyptic Winnebago.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, Dale was much more of a nicer guy in the show, but I mean, yeah, he was this. Yeah, there's definitely something missing in that group since Dale and Herschel have left.
Yeah, it's called morality.
Yeah, exactly.
We're trying to get it in all the wrong places now. We're looking at Rick for it, and that's not the place. And Michonne is not the place.
No,
and certainly not in the now.
Rick is a good, you know, he's a good point, like, right and wrong kind of person, but he doesn't have the morality, the morals that, you know, Dale had or that Herschel had.
I think he does. He just doesn't have the strong need to not kill people.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you can still be, your moral compass can still be strong, even if it points to occasionally you have to murder someone.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dale would have been the kind of guy that would have tried to avoid a war with Negan and the Saviors. Whereas Rick knows, you know, for the survival of the group, we've got to kill these other people. Dale wouldn't have come to that decision.
No, you're right. Dale wouldn't have. And Dale would have been hell on Maggie at the hilltop taking prisoners.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been really down on that. So I guess we have Morgan, who's, you know, he's a compass of sorts that we can look to now.
He's although his arrow seems to point in, you know, very different directions depending on what kind of mood he's in, though.
What about Jerry?
See, I don't know if he's the compass. I mean, he is a good guy at heart, but, you know, at the same time, he has no problem swinging that battle axe into somebody's head.
So are we really missing a moral compass, or are we down to, like, it's Maggie? Because if it's Maggie, we're in trouble.
I mean, everybody has a bit of morality, but, like, Dale embodied that morality. I mean, Dale, you know, he stuck to his guns, you know, whereas everybody else, they will, you know, their positions will change based on the situation they're in and what their group needs.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think Dale had a very strong character, you know. That morality was a big part of who he was, and it never seemed to change no matter what situation they were in.
Yeah, and it was easier to set up, I guess, in the beginning, because to pick somebody up now that has that kind of idealism would seem odd.
Well, and also, and for the stories at the time too, because, you know, at the times when Dale was around, there wasn't a Negan, there wasn't a governor. You know,
there wasn't other survivors. If you
they weren't going to war with other people. They weren't going to war with other people. They were just dealing with trying to stay alive at this point. You know, so
I guess, well, if we look at it that way, then when the governor shoots or kills Herschel, he's basically killing the morality of the group, that moral compass of the group. That this is how it is now. After that event,
and
everything.
The loss of that morality really kind of pushed the you know, the idea of really fighting other people. You know, that's when Rick and them really decided to go to war with the governor, and had no qualms about killing that group of bikers that Daryl's with when they took Carl, or the fact that we're just going to go kill the saviors and make everything fine.
In the chat room, we haven't talked about Maggie possibly leaving. There's rumors that she's in contract negotiations after this season. And
I heard something about that. I don't think she's going to leave.
Get worked out. Yeah, I'm sure it'll get worked out.
Yeah,
I can't see them killing off Carl, killing off Maggie. It's just
well, if I read correctly, she's still contracted through next season.
I think it's the end of this one, actually. This run. Yeah,
I thought I read she was contracted through 9, but maybe.
No. I think that's what I read today.
Okay.
All right. So that was another excellent choice. I'm gonna go with Noah, and the reason I chose Noah to bring back is because, one, I think there's a lack of racial diversity in our group. As far as men go, I think Morgan's the only real guy of color we have. Ezekiel now, Jerry.
Yeah.
But from a long time back, you just knew the black guy was doomed.
I mean, and that's kind of, unfortunately, that's a trope of the horror movies. The black guy always dies. The black character always dies in the horror movies.
But we're in a new day and age of Wakanda forever. So anything now is possible.
Oh, of course, of course.
I would have liked to have seen Noah blossom as a character from where they found him to where they could have taken him.
And especially with what they were setting up for Noah. As far as becoming friends with the husband of the chick that was running Alexandria, and wanting to learn like engineering and set up solar panels and stuff. Like they were really setting him up as like a kid that was going to do some great things for this group, right. And then just boom, killed him. Right. Yeah, and then just took him out.
Yeah, if you have you have the Elon Musk of the apocalypse, and you're like, this is the guy that can turn the light backs on and put the ice back in our drinks. You want to keep that guy alive.
You think so?
I would.
Yeah, definitely.
It proved very powerful in Stephen King's The Stand. If you remember, getting the power back on was a big thing. And,
definitely.
I like that they bring back Dog.
T-Dog.
Bring back T-Dog. Yeah, because that would be helpful.
Nothing against T-Dog, but T-Dog didn't really bring a lot to the table.
He wasn't the best. There wasn't a lot you could do with this story. What was T-Dog going to bring to the table when they re-established the government? He's Omarosa. T-Dog's great for a celebrity Big Brother, but he's lousy in the apocalypse. All right, who else you got? No, I like Noah.
And
I can't believe we haven't done any of the same ones yet.
Yeah. Somebody I kind of like to bring back, and it was only because I liked the character in the comic book, but they have done different things with other people to kind of make up for this, is Andrea.
Okay, I can understand wanting Andrea, especially from a comic book perspective.
Andrea in the show was very different from the character in the comic book, but the fact I think they kind of wasted the character on the show. They never really did enough with her. And had they done more with the character, I think we would have seen a much more interesting character come out of that.
Yeah, when they hooked her up with the governor, I think that
was all downhill from there.
Yeah, it kind of ruined the whole shtick for her. I liked Andrea in the comic book. She's still alive in the comic book, as far as I know.
Same here.
And Michonne has taken on a lot of those characteristics. Carol's taken on some.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Yeah. So except that they've taken the elements of this character and they've applied them to other people.
Right. And they do that a lot. I mean, and they've done it with character deaths. And
they did it with Bob. Bob was took on part of Dale's character arc. Things like that.
Did Dale get eaten by cannibals in the book?
Yeah, Dale was the guy that the hunters that the cannibals captured.
Man. Poor Dale. Poor Bob.
Dale was infected when the cannibals caught him and they ate his leg, and he's like, haha, I'm infected, and they all freaked out and sent him back. Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
All right. I'm good with that one too. We can bring him back. That's fine. Okay. I'm down to my top 3, and number 3 is purely for selfish reasons. I would like to bring back Jessie Anderson. You remember her? Yeah. She was Sam, the whiny little bitch's mom.
Oh yeah, because she was hot.
She was scorching hot.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I want her back. Then Rick is not putting his pickle in my Michonne. And I'm much happier guy when I watch The Walking Dead. I'm like,
I can totally understand your reasons for that. I get that wholeheartedly.
We could call Rick Jesse's girl. I mean, oh man, there's so many jokes we're missing out on by not having Jesse. We need her back.
Nice.
Damn, you can guess who's on my hate list, you stupid little bastard kid. You killed her. Yeah, she was hot. And there was a lot they could have done with her, too. I mean, they could have given her Rick's love interest. They could have given Carl a mom. They could have actually done something with Judith besides making her a total liability.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Jesse Anderson should have lived.
I'd be okay with that.
Because it would have been like, half a season of her pining over the little bastard kid. And then,
kill the kid off. That's fine. Let Rick be the one to comfort her and be there for her and help her get over the death of her son. And
I'm all for that, but that kid needed to die.
Both of her kids needed to die. They were both little shits.
I understand that in the current climate in our country, it's not cool to say kids should die. I get that, and I'm not trying to advocate that.
Never
on this particular television program, though, that kid needed to go.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's one of the things I was telling you about the story I'm working on, and I'm dealing with in my head whether I want there to be guns or not. Because nobody has ever committed a mass murder with a machete, and as far as I know, like you can get through maybe 3, and then you're like, shit, I mean, we'll get on him.
Jason Voorhees has killed quite a few people with a machete.
Yeah. But that's a serial killer. That's not a mass killer.
No, it's true.
I'm saying if you walk into a crowded theater and, yell for Wakanda and take a machete and try to kill the crowd, you're maybe getting through 3 people before you get stopped.
Yeah, probably.
But, a 3 is a good number. I'm not saying. Right, don't go killing people with machetes.
Let's try to avoid the violence.
Let's not kill each other. How's that?
Yeah.
All right. So who else you
got? Next up on my list is Tyrese.
Tyrese. Why?
I liked Tyrese. The fact that they kept him around a bit longer than they did in the comic books was really interesting. They did a little bit more with him than they did in the story. And I like the fact that we never really got to see the Tyrese Rick struggle, because in the books they butted heads quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a bit.
They tamed Tyrese down a bit. He was a lot more, I wouldn't say docile, but he was much more calmer in the TV show than he was in the books. The only time you really saw him get like really worked up was back in the prison when Carol started burning sick people.
Sorry, I don't laugh at that, but go Carol.
But at the same time, I think Tyrese, his death could have been avoided. I think his death was just, it was one of the more stupid deaths on the show.
And he went out kind of like a bitch. He went out just to a simple walker.
And just a kid, like it was Noah's brother.
And that's not even cool anymore. And it's part of my theory on Carl that we will get into in a little bit, is that going out like a little punk to one little walker bite is not good enough for our Carl.
No.
It really isn't.
I'll give you that.
So, I mean, you have to, at this point, if you're going to kill a character, especially one we love, you better do more than just show us a little bite, a little hickey on the rib. Because we don't even know. I'm not even going to get into that. We'll get into it. Okay. 2 left from me. Number 2 on my list. 1, Abraham Ford.
And that's the last person on my list.
So many, many reasons to bring back Abraham, not the least of which was the one-liners that came out. And
oh God, I loved almost everything that came out of that man's mouth.
Cutlets was a genius on this show, and forever love will be rained upon him at Walker Stalker conventions, I'm sure.
I mean that's why I was really hoping that the character that was going to cross over with Fear the Walking Dead would have been Abraham.
Yeah, that would
If
have been
that would have
so
actually
good.
that would have actually got me back into watching Fear the Walking Dead.
Fear the Walking Dead.
If he'd have been on there, I would have gone back and watched.
I caught up on Fear the Walking Dead in the off season, and I'm not against the show. I really like a couple of the characters, but I think it's a lot along the line of the same thing of we're just going to see the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
and so I really want them to mix it up so that I don't know. I need the walkers to be a threat again.
And and I mean to be fair, in this kind of story, while the walkers have the numbers and they are dangerous, they're never the overpowering threat. It's the people that can think. It's the people that choose to be assholes and to choose to want to go the way that Negan or the governor did and like rule these little groups with the way they think they should be run. Those are always going to be the most dangerous people. I mean, the sheer numbers of walkers means that humanity's always going to be outnumbered, and they're never going to be completely safe unless they find a way to completely eradicate these. But the people that can think, that can hunt, that can stalk these people, they're going to be your true threat. But yeah, I mean, especially with the Fear of the Walking Dead, the beginning of the outbreak and the whole like conversion of the population to zombies, I want to see more about that. I want to see, at that point, you shouldn't have, it shouldn't so much be the individual groups taking their own things. It should be people still trying to work together at this point before realizing that everything is fucked and there's little you can do about it.
There you go. And that's exactly what I liked about Fear of the Walking Dead was that one, they set it in a city that I was very familiar with. So when they put up fences around, Boyle Heights, I'm like, holy crap, I know where that is. That really kind of brought it home for me a little bit. And now that I've been here in the South for so long, being in Georgia and down in there, and it's crazy. Like, it's full on Walking Dead town now. If you go into Atlanta, there's tours. It's craziness.
I'm sure it is.
So they have a big Walker Stalker con there in Atlanta. That's the biggest one, obviously.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I've never gotten down there for that one, but I'm gonna try maybe next year.
Nice.
We'll see. I got to get press credentials if I'm gonna go. All right, so that was your number one, was Abraham.
That was my number one, was Abraham. Yeah, right. I love again, and a lot. Some of the stuff comes down to the casting. Michael Cudlitz. When I heard he was coming in to play Abraham, I thought that was one of the most perfect casting choices that they could have gone with.
Two other choices for recasting Abraham, if I had to.
Okay.
Nathan Fillion.
Okay. I think Nathan Fillion can do just about anything.
He would be a fantastic Abraham.
Yeah.
And because I've been rewatching Chuck, Adam Baldwin, Animal Mother, Mother from what is it, Full Metal Jacket. He'd be fantastic.
Both of them are Joss Whedon alumni.
Right. There's Serenity and Firefly for Adam Baldwin. Yeah. And Dr. Horrible sing-along blog. So great.
Yeah. Both those guys could easily have pulled that role off. But I mean, I think Cudlitz really had the look. Changed his hair a little bit, let him grow a mustache. But I mean, from even just the way he was drawn in the comic books, like when I first heard that, like I pictured in my head, I'm like, this is great. I mean, this guy, and from some of the stuff I've seen him in, I could easily see that character being played by Michael Cudlitz. It wasn't a stretch at all. I didn't really have to think about like, oh, well, maybe if he did this, like, no, like right on. This guy didn't even have to try, and he could be this character.
Cudlitz could have played Rick. I think he could have played Daryl. I think there's so many different. You could different hair, and he could have played any number of characters. But Abraham and just the one-liners. Nuts.
There are some casting choices that they've made that when I first heard, I'm thinking, okay. Like when I first heard that Andrew Lincoln was playing Rick, I'm thinking the guy from Love Actually with the fucking signs. This is the guy that's going to play Rick Grimes. I was not expecting.
I love your face. I want to be with you.
Yeah, I'm thinking, this is the guy that's going to be Rick Grimes. This is the guy that's going to lead these people through the apocalypse. And like, and he's done great. He's done an amazing job with the show. But that's not who I ever would have in a million years picked to play Rick Grimes.
No, never in a million years. Yeah.
But it's worked out well.
It has, luckily.
Yeah.
All right. So the last one on my list is Beth.
Beth.
I liked Beth. I loved Beth. I liked the actress that played Beth. I thought she was cute. I liked her and Daryl together, and I really wanted that ship to happen. And I think that her death could have been better served by anybody else, really, at that point. I don't think that we needed to scar Daryl that bad that early. He was already pretty scarred up when we got him.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that was really necessary. And what they were putting together with her and him was great.
Yeah. I mean, it almost seemed like they just kind of ran out of stuff for her to do.
Yeah.
You know, the whole like hospital thing, that was kind of a waste of time.
A little bit.
You know, it's like, okay.
But again, there's going to be pockets of people that are just not all that interesting.
Yeah. And we've seen a number of them in the last couple seasons.
We have seen many. All right. So that takes care of who we would bring back. We did that in half an hour. This is going to take way longer than I thought. All right, on to the people.
Well, I have a feeling we'll probably have some overlapping on the least favorites and favorites. So, that might speed things up.
Let's go with the hate list. I have 4 reasons that this person is number 5 on my hate list.
Okay,
it is Rick Grimes.
Really?
Rick Grimes. All right, so my first comment says, "Gulp, here comes the grief." It's not that I don't like Rick. I do. What I don't like is what Rick has become. And I would like for him, I think I would like him more if we do lose Carl and Judith. If we got rid of the kids all together and he's just living for him, that would be a great time, and I would be into that. But as long as the kids are around, sorry. Number 2, his wacky plans never fucking work. Not once has one of Rick's plans gone off without a hitch.
Well, to be fair, it's not all his fault. Where, you know, if we look at like the last half of the season, the reason the plans didn't work is because everybody else fucked up. You know, Daryl fucked up, and you know, everybody else screwed up the fucking plans. Sometimes it's situational, like the whole clearing out the quarry. Like, okay, you know, the trucks moved and the zombies got out quicker than they thought. You know, you can't really fault Rick for that one, but
the chat room loves Rick Grimes. It's a good choice. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right. I says his wacky plans never fucking work. There's always a problem. And yeah, I get the idea of dramatic tension, but just one of these missions could go flawlessly. And as long as Rick is planning them, it's never going to happen.
And I know the last reason why you hate Rick.
No, number 3. It's number 3. Number 3, he's put his dirty pickle in my Michonne. Every episode I see that kiss makes me retch in my stomach. I don't like it. He needs to keep his pickle out of my woman. And number 4, my final point is he is straight up Negan's bitch. That's a fact. Until he takes his power back, if he were to die, I wouldn't miss the episode. I would tune in to watch him die at this point.
Yeah, I understand. I hear you.
That's how I feel about Rick. So thank God we don't have a lot of viewers, because the hate mail would be big. But I can't take him anymore. At one point he was great, but he has become just not my Rick Grimes.
Yeah.
So I don't like him anymore, and he can go away.
Fair enough.
What do you got?
First up on my list is Father Gabriel.
Oh, why? Now, see, there's growth in that character.
But at the same time, you know, Gabriel started by abandoning all of his principles and all of the things he held dear. You know, as a man of the cloth, the whole, you know, helping out people. What's the first thing he did? He fucking locked out his congregation and left them to die because he was afraid. This is the man who gave up on everything that he believed in to save his own fucking ass. And then now is trying to atone for the fact that he was such a dick to his entire church. You know, that's weakness as far as, I mean, I understand that, when you're faced with the zombies, you're probably going to, try and save your own skin, but to abandon all of the teachings of the Bible that this man lived by, do unto others and, all this stuff. Boom, just like, fuck it, I'm saving my own skin. You're on your own. Hope God can save you all.
Oh, all right. But the thing is it's hard to cast judgment on the man, as we have never been in a zombie apocalypse situation and don't know how we would react.
Exactly. And I can't say that I'd be any better.
Right. I would love to think that I was a hero, that I was going to be, that I was going to be Abraham or Rick, but there's a really good chance that I'm fucking Eugene.
I understand. I completely agree with you, but I mean, it's like, this is a man that, threw it, as far as I can tell, just like kind of abandoned all of, his principles and the ideals that he believed in, everything that he held true to save his own life.
I want to take the other side on this. A man of God sees a world turned apart and turned into zombies where the dead walk. God has turned his back on that man so that man can turn his back on God.
Well, he hasn't turned his back on God, though. He's still all like, go God, all high and mighty, except for the people that counted on me when they needed it.
All right. The chat room says, would you let a group of 20 to 30 people with limited food and water, with some of those people probably being infected? Would you let them in?
If this man held true to his principles, I think he should have. Whether or not it cost him his life, that remains to be seen. But, if you're truly a man of principles, you stick with them.
I have a zombie bug out plan and I'm sticking to it. And if you're not a part of it, you're not a part of it.
True.
That's all.
But these are people that came to count on him for spiritual growth, for leadership, for guidance. And as soon as the shit hit the fan, he cut them the fuck out.
I understand your hate for him, but the character has grown. He's become much stronger.
A little bit, but he still has those moments of weakness.
But if Father Gabriel died, nobody would give two shits, really.
Exactly.
And that is fair. That is absolute truth. Is if he was the one that went out on a mid-season finale, we'd be like, oh, that wasn't big enough.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a episode 4 kind of kill. And that's what he is at this point. But I still haven't opened his character in the Dead Man's Land game. I still haven't gotten it.
Oh.
I haven't gotten Michonne either. All right, number 4 on my list of people I hate is the aforementioned bastard child, Sam Anderson. I have no qualms about hating this sniveling little snot rag. I hate him when he was on the show. I hate him when he's off the show. He was Walker bait, and we should have cut him the minute we saw him.
Well, see, I'm gonna see your Sam, and I'm gonna raise you for my next one. Ooh. And I'm basically gonna say every kid that's been on the show.
Every kid on the show. Yes, all right.
Every kid, because all of them have done nothing but screw up and cause people's death. Let's see. Dale died because of Carl.
Lori died because of Carl.
Lori, well, that's true. But Dale, but like Carl, like going out and trying to kill a walker on his own and end up freeing this trapped walker that led to that walked over and finally bit Dale. That's what killed Dale. The 2 little girls, the one that killed her sister before, Carol plugged her. Yeah, Sam and his brother. All of these kids have done nothing but bring death and disappointment and heartache to the people around them.
Then there's the little shit that's with Morgan up there at the kingdom. Won't forget about him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So kids are bad. And actually,
I love kids. Don't get me wrong. I love kids. But in an apocalypse setting, these kids have just done nothing but fuck up.
Lori died because the black guy opened the gate. No. Lori died because Carl shot her in the head.
Did he shoot her or stab her?
I think he stabbed her.
I think he cut her up after she gave birth, after they cut Judith out of her.
All right, but to your point, the next one on my list is Judith. I hate Judith. Total liability. Potty training, teaching her to walk, teaching her to talk, swing a machete. It's a lot to deal with when you're dealing with armies and people trying to take you out. I hate kids. Gracie, same thing. They need to go.
Yeah, because when you're fighting a war and you got to leave someone at home to babysit, that one person could be the difference between life and death. But no, they got to sit there and Gerber feed the little baby.
Yeah, right. I said number 2, she's of no value to the story since Rick treats her like a purse because she goes with some outfits, but sometimes she doesn't, so he just kind of leaves her around.
And we hardly ever see Rick with Judith,
No, if it is, it's a momentary. He picks her up, hugs her, and hands her to somebody else.
Yeah, Rick is an absentee father to Judith.
He's a very absentee father. Now that we have baby Grace, can we just admit that Judith isn't all that cute? I'm kidding, of course, but how does Judith not get jealous of another baby?
Yeah.
That's not a story I need to deal with in the apocalypse. It's not what I want in my Walking Dead. I don't want to care.
Maggie's going to pop out a kid too now. So, now Judith is going to be like playing third fiddle.
And if we do lose Carl, the dream of Judith and Carl walking hand in hand with an orangutan at the end of this series is gone.
While Suzanne plays in the background.
It does say, while Suzanne by Weezer plays, of course. Is that brilliant. Not the perfect ending to this whole thing? Is Judith and Carl with an orangutan walking down some
I want to see that so bad.
Oh, I want to see it.
I want to see that so bad. Oh man,
Suzanne, you're all that I wanted. Kevin Smith,
that's beautiful.
Didn't even know that he wrote the perfect ending for The Walking Dead.
That's beautiful, man.
If you have a better way to end the series, tell me.
I don't.
There's not
now that's all I want to see.
That's all I want at the end of this.
You may have ruined the show for me now forever.
I'm sorry if I ruined it, but God, that would be epic, wouldn't it?
Oh man, yeah.
Only like a handful of people would really get it.
Yeah.
And the rest would just be like, why do they have an orangutan? Why the orangutan? That's Justice's monkey. Not even drunk, folks. This is normal. All right, who else you got?
I liked the character, but he was very, very hateable. I gotta go Shane.
Shane, I don't even remember Shane. Who was Shane? Oh, Shane.
Shane.
Yeah, I remember. All right. So think about. All right. Why do you not want? Why do you hate Shane?
Shane was that guy that, I mean, to be fair, when he got out Lori and Carl out of the city and got him to group, he thought that his best friend was dead. But as soon as his best friend comes back, he's like, I gotta fucking kill this guy so I can keep banging his wife. Like he became very selfish, just the, no hooray that my friend's back. Just like, boom, I got to keep nailing this guy's wife.
Okay,
because
I'm going to go on the other side of Lori wasn't that hot.
This is true. She was not, but when your options are limited, you go with what you got.
Options are not limited in the apocalypse. Look at the girls in the apocalypse. They're all scorching.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah. I mean, there's a few girls that probably, aren't as hot as some of these women that they show, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's almost like a CW show, where everybody's hot and, nobody's not.
Everyone in Starling City is attractive.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. In the DC universe, there is not an ugly person to be seen anywhere.
No, it's true. There are no fatties.
Yeah. But I mean, but even other stuff like back when they were on the farm and Shane was going with that one guy to give to get some stuff to try and save Carl, and the zombies started chasing him down, and he hobbled that one guy so that he could get away from the zombies. Took the guy's knee out.
Otis.
Yeah, when he hobbled Otis so that the zombies would eat him and he could get away. I mean, that was a pretty big dick move on his part. That's
a baller move. I would do that.
I understand the reason for doing it, but instead of trying to help him, instead of helping him get away, he's like, nope, dude. He's like, you're slower than me, so
no, I'm fully on the I would have kneecapped you so you got 8 and I got away. I don't have to run the fastest. I just have to be faster than you.
Yeah, this is true. But I mean, just the whole like, got to the point of like, you know what, I got to kill Rick so I can, I want to run this group and I'm going to keep banging his wife.
I would have liked to have seen, if they'd have kept Shane alive, I would have liked to have seen the group splinter into two separate things and then have, this whole where we're at with Negan and the Black Parade and all them, and have, Rick versus Shane on top of that is a whole, that would add a dynamic that we didn't see. But that
could have been interesting.
They could have battled for Judah's soul.
Father versus father.
The cold part is the zombies were still 20 feet away. Oh yeah, on Otis kill. Yeah, they were a ways back when he hauled him.
Yeah, exactly.
And Otis was a big dude to begin with, so he didn't even give him a shot. Like, you could have jogged backwards while Otis ran. It was like 10 feet, and I'm gonna hobble you 5 more feet. And you could have inspired him to get out of there.
Yeah.
He says Shane's group would have killed Negan. I agree. Shane's group would have been badass.
Yeah, Shane would have just like,
Merle and Shane would have teamed up, and that would have been awesome.
Yeah, that would have made for a whole different show.
Rick and Daryl versus Merle and Shane. Oh, sweet heaven, that would have been good.
Yeah, you had some like very interesting like conflicts arise between the two groups.
Yeah, that would have been great. All right, so we can hate Shane, but in the same vein as he's still an interesting character.
He was, I mean, and I love John Barenthal.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. These guys great. Punisher was good.
Yeah.
We got no problems with that. The next on my list. All right, I'm gonna get a lot of shit for being a sexist, but Enid.
Really? Okay.
I think Enid is totally worthless, especially if we lose Carl.
Yeah, I mean,
what is Enid's story if Carl dies?
Yeah, I mean, she's basically seemed to be around to be Carl's love interest.
Right. That's it.
Since they killed
if you want to do that, if you want to make her the future of Carl's baby mama, that's great. But in order to do that, you have to save Carl.
Yeah. Especially since they killed off Sophia in the second season, they had to introduce another character to kind of take up that role.
Right.
And without Carl.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
She becomes kind of pointless.
That role. Yeah. There's no other teenage girls in the apocalypse except Enid now. There's none on the Savior side. We haven't seen them anywhere.
Chick ate a raw turtle and didn't even get a stomach ache.
All right, fine. She is that. But what else did I write? The only thing she ever accomplished was killing Natanya and saving Aaron outside of Camp Crystal Lake, and I stand by that. That's all she's ever accomplished. She's done nothing.
I agree.
And I wrote young teen nursing students are a dime a dozen, and maybe the next one will have some other viable skills. So that's one. I just think without Carl, I don't need her to be Maggie's handmaid tale. I don't need that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with her. I mean, maybe she'll end up staying at Crystal Lake. We don't have to kill her, but just they can write her off the show.
They're just going to make that a whole women's home for battered women, and Camp Crystal Lake cannot survive in a good way. The ending of Camp Crystal Lake is bad. It's bad,
especially since Rick and his group took all their fucking weapons.
Yeah, unless they are usurped by a bigger group, any ending for Camp Crystal Lake is bad.
Yeah,
it probably can't be shown on television because
no. Not without like parents groups like losing their shit.
Enid will be the new Carl. Look, the day Rick yells, "Where's Enid?" You have my attention. But until that happens, she's not going to be the new Carl. Nobody has ever once wondered like, we're worried where Enid is. No, if Enid's dead, oh well, we lost Enid.
Now, I'm curious what she looked like wearing that cowboy hat, though, wearing Rick's sheriff's hat.
Well, maybe she did have a little jiggle when she ran towards at the end of the season there. maybe. All right. I got Tara as my number one hated person.
Nice.
I hate Tara. I have 5 reasons for this.
Okay.
Asking why I hate Tara is like asking why I hate zucchini. I wouldn't want it in my mouth, no matter how you cook it. I find her to be annoying and irrational. Camp Crystal Lake should have killed her when they had the chance.
Nice.
That's number one.
Jeez, that's a big reason.
Thanks. That was a good one. Number two, this is not an indictment of other characters with non-traditional orientations or gender identification. I actually liked Denise and thought it was sad when she died. But I would not feel sad if Tara did. So it has nothing to do with her being a lesbian. That's nothing to do with it. I'm totally cool with Jesus. I'm totally cool with all the vibes that are going on. If Daryl and Jesus want to make out, I'll watch. I won't watch excitedly. I'll be like, oh, fuck, I can't believe they did that. But it would give me something.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
She adds nothing of tactical value to the team. Why would you take Tara on a mission with you if you had a chance? What can she do that no one else can do? Rosita at least picked up shit from her ex-boyfriends. Yeah. Tara has nothing. She has no skills. And skills pay the bills. And she has none. And number four, she just wants to kill everybody that's getting old. If Rick would have treated her the way she treats the saviors, she'd be dead at the prison. He gave her a chance, and she doesn't show that compassion to anyone else. And that's not a good character trait. Number five, her characters come from the novels and not the comic. So really, who cares? Yeah, so I don't like her. Alana Masterson is a Scientologist. I have my own problem with the Scientology world. So there you go. Tara could die. I wouldn't care.
All right.
I got a lot of laughs in the chat room. I did well on that one.
My number one. There are very few characters on the show who, whenever I see them on screen, I just want to see them die a horrible death. But this is probably one of the easiest, most hateable characters that has ever been portrayed in the show, and that's Gregory.
Oh, I love Gregory.
Gregory is just this fucking mouth-breathing weasel who will do anything to stay alive. I mean, he's got his head so far up so many asses that, I'm surprised that there isn't just his face isn't brown. I mean,
Gregory is I love Gregory. He's so great. I can't believe you would put him number one.
I'm waiting for the moment when he dies. I'm hoping that they give him like this epic death scene where he just gets fucking brutally just destroyed. I mean, I want Simon to come in and just fucking flay the skin off his bones.
I don't think he deserves a death like that. He's a guy that goes out by a walker.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. I mean,
you don't kill Carl like that, but you can kill Gregory like that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd love to see just some interesting way to kill him off. But yeah, I mean, he's probably gonna go like run away from somebody, like not be paying attention where he's running, and run right into a zombie mouth.
And it won't be the person that you want. Like we all want Maggie to get him.
Oh yeah,
I think that's the general group consensus. If anybody could take Gregory out, Maggie would be the one we'd all want to see do it.
Of course.
And that's a fun game, is that who do you think should get to kill X person, whatever. Yeah. But I think he'll end up going out to somebody either like just a walker or Enid, who will, walk up behind him and shoot him in the back.
I want someone to choke him on like pancake batter.
Pancake batter?
After eating those kids' pancakes?
Oh man. Yeah, Gregory. How about Gabriel? There you go. Chat room.
Oh,
what about Gabriel taking him out?
Yeah,
that'd be recompense.
Yeah, and Gabriel being a man of the Bible, an eye for an eye. I mean, it works.
That would be a redemptive kill. And again, I don't think Gregory nor Gabriel deserves that redemptive kill. Yeah, I don't think Gabriel deserves the satisfaction, and I don't think Gregory deserves that cool of a death.
It reminds me of like Sam Jackson in the new Star Wars movies, where he said, "Give me an awesome death," and what do they do? They throw him out a fucking window. I mean,
right? That is not an awesome death.
No, not for a man like Sam Jackson.
Yeah, a purple lightsaber, man. He's the only person in the galaxy with a purple lightsaber.
That's right.
So we could check his stuff for lint. That's what
he held his lightsaber up and see all the stains on the wall.
Have you not heard that story?
No.
Sam Jackson asked for a purple lightsaber, and George Lucas told him that no one has a purple lightsaber. Why do you want one? And he said, because Mace Windu would check his shit for lint.
I mean, I heard that Sam Jackson wanted the purple lightsaber, but I didn't hear the reason why. That's pretty good.
That would be it. All right, so that takes care of the hate. That takes care of the bringing back. The rest of the podcast is about love.
That's right.
Isn't that good? All right, so before we get to that, I want to do my theory on Carl. All right, so here, are you ready?
Bring it.
Carl wasn't bit by a walker. He was bit by a human.
Are we talking like whispers?
I'm saying it could still be a bite, but it is not an infective bite. It is just a bite.
Somebody just fucking with him, like thinking like, hey, I got a kid here. I'm going to take a bite out of his stomach.
Why not? You can't scrape clean it. You can't do any of that. You can't burn it clean. He can't be amazingly, immune. So why not have it be a phantom bite by a human?
I think that would be very anticlimactic to what they are setting up. I mean, I think I think they're going to use Carl's death to make Rick realize some things about Negan and the Saviors, and kind of bring a little bit of humanity back to Rick, because Rick's like full on like, I want to kill all these fuckers mode right now, and I think
Carl. I'm saying they're not going to kill off Carl. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they will. I think he's gone.
I don't think so. I'm gonna stick to my guns, and hopefully next Monday I can come on here and say, "Bitch, I told you he's still alive." Yeah. And if he's clinging to life next week, then there's still hope. So
there you go.
I'm keeping Carl alive, but I certainly don't think he's gonna die in the episode that comes back. I don't think it'll go that quickly, if at all, and I really don't think they're gonna kill him at all. So
yeah. I mean, because you can survive for a time with a bite. I mean, it takes time for the infection to spread and to finally kill you. I mean, look how long Bob hit it, things like that. Some of these people hit it for days or weeks before it finally took them out.
The chat room says that nobody wants AMC doesn't want to pay people, and that's why they're killing them off, and that might be possible. We'll find out. But,
yeah,
I don't think that it's going to be about money, but we'll see.
Well, to be fair though, they did similar stuff with like with Mad Men, towards the end, where they didn't want to pay as much, so they wanted shorter scripts so they can make shorter episodes. They wanted characters, not all characters to be in all the episodes, so they have to pay them for all this stuff. I mean, I get from a business standpoint where they're coming from, because the cost of producing these shows compared to how much they actually make, it varies, especially as ratings start to drop down, because the ratings for the show have been going down lately.
Okay, and how much of that is the effect of them cost cutting and having last season having 4 episodes that were concentric on a single person and didn't feature the whole group? Yeah. So yes, you're not paying people when you do that, and that's that's a fine way to save some dough. But those were also 4 of the episodes we all hated.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
We didn't like that string of 4 episodes because they were one person, each episode.
Yeah.
So I understand that with a big cast, it gets tough, and money's going to be a problem. And maybe that's the whole reason for it. I would love to think that they have a little bit more integrity about the show than just to be like, oh, we just don't want to pay you X amount of dollars. And yes, these people have all become much bigger stars because of the show, and they demand more dollars. So
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. People always want more money for these roles. I mean, it's ruined other TV shows. When you start getting the actors that are getting like $1 million an episode for some of these shows, it's like, is the show making that much money that we can afford to pay 6 people $1 million an episode for 22 episodes a season? It starts to get to the point where it's just too fucking ridiculous to keep going.
And these shows have huge casts. I mean, they're enormous.
I don't think anybody on Walking Dead's making $1 million an episode, but when they want raises and okay, well, one person's getting a raise and we got to renegotiate for these other people, and they find out this person's getting a raise, so they want more money. I mean, it does get out of hand eventually,
And I agree with the chat. They say, it is the only show AMC has that's pulling its weight. It's certainly not the Into the Badlands, though. I
really like Into the Badlands, though. I really do. I think it's a fun show.
I mean, I like Ride with Norman Reedus. I like Comic Book Man, but none of those are carrying network. And it's
they're not like they're not the shows that are like the flagship titles of this network.
And that's the reason we have Fear the Walking Dead, is because it's helping to save the network.
Yeah.
This is they need to kill Daryl. That's a quarter of the budget. You're right. Yeah, you can kill Daryl, and you're saving quite a bit of money. You can kill Rick, but I don't know. And maybe Chandler Riggs got a little big in the britches, but I really hate to see that happen. And then I'd really hate to see them start recasting roles with other people just to keep the role around. So I mean, do I want to see Maggie die? No, of course not. I want to see her become the new president of whatever it is after. But that's where Carl and Judith are walking away from in my mind. Maggie's controlling the country, and they two walk off into the sunset. Suzanne. All right, let's get to this love thing because we're already an hour into this.
All right.
All right. Hopefully we will overlap, but I doubt it. Number 5, Simon.
Okay.
The great Stephen Hogg. Does he have an interest in being the number 1 guy at Sanctuary? Maybe. But that's what makes him interesting all on his own. At any turn, he can just drop a dime and turn on Negan. And I think we would all enjoy that. I think watching Simon do his thing is fun.
Yeah.
The way he dealt with Gregory at the Hilltop, this guy's masterful at manipulation.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He certainly understands the importance of information as a resource. So Simon is straight gold. And quick-witted and far more intelligent than anyone would give him credit for by sight.
Oh, definitely, yeah. He's definitely a surprising character in the fact that it doesn't look like there's much going on inside that head of his, but the guy's a calculating little madman there. I mean, he knows what's going on. He doesn't let on to other people that he knows, but he knows.
Yeah,
I think he's very underestimated because of how he is.
I think at some point we will get a flash at Simon's backstory and maybe learn a little bit more about him. I hope so anyways, because I really like that character and I would like to explore that backstory. I'd like to see where he comes from because he is pretty smart and he certainly doesn't come off that way.
Yeah.
All right, who do you got?
I'm going to go with Ezekiel.
Ooh.
I love me some Ezekiel.
I mean, the king too.
This is a man who reinvented himself in the apocalypse. He was a nobody before, and a theater actor, whatever. The guy rescues a tiger, and he becomes this medieval king, leading this group of people, and he always is always in character. He's always this, this happy guy, this. He's playing this part. He's doing what he needs to do to inspire these people, to lead these people, to keep them safe. And it's just really interesting to see, how this person has taken this idea of leadership and taken what he knows to work into this whole thing. This whole idea of being a king, and the optimism that this guy has, up until the end of this first half of the season, we'd never seen this guy anything but cheery. I mean, even like when he looked kind of stoic, he was still a nice guy, and up until the point where like everybody died in his group and like you see him break. Right. But like just the idea of this man reinventing himself in a positive way. Whereas,
he takes the Ra's al Ghul thing of theatrics and puts it over the top.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's very Batman-like in that respect. He's fully committed to being King Ezekiel. But there are crumbs of moments, especially with Carol, where we see the cracks in the facade. and all of a sudden you see Bruce Wayne, right? And he's just a little crack, and there he is. And I think he does that great. Kerry Payton does a great job with Ezekiel. And I would have put him on my list. He's right up there, but I had others to deal with.
Of course.
And the tiger, Shiva, was such a good character.
Yeah,
she will be. And if we're talking about things that we could bring back from the dead, this tiger,
Shiva. Yeah.
But again, there was a lot of money in Shiva. So
exactly.
My number 4 is the governor.
Really?
I love the governor. He created the first spectator sport of the apocalypse, and that's saying something. Is the return to normalcy would be, a return to becoming spectators to life again. That's what we are generally, is spectators of life. We watch sports, we don't play them. We watch things, we don't participate. That's what we've become, and he was the first one to put us on a step back to that with his fighting pit. I'm all for the governor.
See, I liked the comic book governor. I did not like the TV show governor.
Oh,
they took a lot of the crazy out of him. They took a lot of that psycho. Like, he seemed like this kind of like clean cut, like straight edge, normal kind of guy. And then they kind of like, oh, there are some bits of pieces of this guy being crazy. Like, he's got fish tanks full of zombie heads.
Number 2, the fish tank heads full of heads is awesome. It's showing a character's dark and twisted side. Without the fish tank, the reality of him keeping Penny chained up wouldn't have been as powerful.
Yeah, but I'm like, they like you see this like nice guy, this man of the people, and then they show you these like little bits of things that just don't quite fit with the character. Whereas in the comic book, like, the guy looked like a psycho, he acted like a psycho, and it was a lot more believable. But like the version on the show just didn't quite fit.
I think he made a good villain in dispatching Herschel by killing the beloved character. That's what really makes you the villain we want to hate. And if you don't take out a character that's morally right, then it's not as powerful.
No, I'll give you that.
Negan taking out Glenn and Abraham, not as powerful if he would have taken out
anybody else.
Yeah, anybody else except Glenn, right?
Yeah,
because Glenn was that Herschel character that is now really tremendously missing. But yeah, so showing that brutality is what makes you a great villain, and he was in spades. I love that guy. He's still their women. He was good. He raped the shit out of Michonne in the comics.
Yeah, I said, they tamed him down a lot because he didn't cut off Rick's hand. He didn't rape Michonne. He won these people over with kindness. Like, hey, we've got solar power. We've got rooms, like houses to live in. Come on down. Oh yeah, we have people like fight zombies in a pit, and I've got my dead daughter chained up in a room, and I've got a TV room full of fish tank heads.
But money-wise, you can't cut off Rick's hand because we can't see his hand every episode. I understand the concessions they made. But
I do. I understand. I agree.
The governor is a bad guy. I still loved him, and that's why he's on my love list. Because as far as loving a bad guy goes, I love the governor more than I love Negan.
See, I'm the opposite.
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
Because I will say Negan is my next one.
All right, cool.
And again, a lot of it comes down to Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I don't think anybody else could have played this part with this kind of intensity and this kind of love and this kind of just passion for the character that Jeffrey Dean Morgan brings to it. I mean, but see, then I would have laughed every time I saw Negan for different reasons altogether.
Andy Dwyer is Negan.
But I mean, and again, it comes down to the idea of this bad guy who doesn't think he's a bad guy. From the point of view we've been presented for 7 years, he is a bad guy. But from his eyes, if we were to see the story from his point of view, he'd be the good guy and Rick would be the bad guys.
Correct.
And that's always, for me, that's always a sign of a great villain, is the guy that doesn't think that they're the bad guy. He's doing what he thinks is best for his people. We might think his methods are questionable, but so are Rick's at times.
So did you see the governor that way at all?
I did not.
You
You know, yeah, he was a guy that was trying to take care of his people, but you know, I never got that sense that, you know, he was, you know, yeah, he was trying to do what was right, but I never got the idea that he could have been a good guy if you looked at it another way.
All right, that's fair. Yeah, I like Negan. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I can't say anything negative about him. I like the governor just a skosh more.
Fair enough.
All right, my number 3 is Jerry. God damn it, Jerry.
Yeah, that was my next one.
I got 5 good reasons here. He brings a jovial outlook to an otherwise grim apocalypse.
And that's the thing, you know, that's one of the big things is in this apocalypse, you don't see anybody having fun ever.
Jerry is having a little bit of fun.
Jerry is fun. Jerry naturally smiles. Jerry is happy to be alive. He is happy to be of service. He's happy to be in a group of people doing his part. You've never, like, Rick never smiles.
When's the last time Rick corrected a joke?
Exactly.
You know, I mean, jokes happen. You know,
and that
even in dark situations, funny people are funny people. So it's good to have Jerry.
Yeah, like I said, you know, that idea that there is still happiness in this world for some people, despite all the shit that's going down, how fucked up everything is. There are people still that are still happy.
There's signs of hope and signs of joy. Number 2 is his loyalty to the king is a trait that few people possess. Most want to lead. He doesn't want to lead. He just wants to make fucking cobbler.
Yeah,
and that's enough. You know, he's good serving the king. And unless you're a knight of the round table, that doesn't come around a lot. So Sir Jerry.
Yes. I think he should be knighted.
Number 3, dude is making cobbler in the apocalypse, and that's worth its weight in gold. Everybody wants
leave the cobbler.
Leave the cobbler. What he does with his axe is impressive.
That guy's got some serious upper body strength.
We waited many, many episodes to see Jerry wield that axe until we finally got it. And when he did, it was epic.
It was worth the wait.
And hopefully we'll get him a new one. And just my last one is there needs to be someone that optimistic. Yeah. And there just needs to be that person.
Yeah. I mean, you know, everybody seems so bleak. It's like, you know, just the struggle to survive, you know, it's taking its toll on these people. You know, they're not happy to be alive. They're just like trudging through their daily lives, just hoping that they're going to make it to the next day. Whereas Jerry seems genuinely optimistic about
fruit time. Whatever. Yeah. I mean, whatever it is, Jerry's happy to do it.
Exactly. And that is in such short supply on the show.
And I hope that coming back to the next 8 episodes that we don't see a broken Jerry. Because a lot of people did die.
Yeah, and, I mean, but, you know, even like the last time we saw him, he seemed a little bit down. And I think that's to be expected, having seen a bunch of his friends die. But, you know, he still has that loyalty to Ezekiel, and I think he still is going to do whatever he can to keep up, you know, what he was doing before.
He'll bounce back, and I just hope it's a quick bounce back, and we don't have to deal with a lot of depressed Jerry.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got? 2 more?
Yep. My next one is I got to go with Morgan.
Okay. Why?
Morgan's had a very interesting arc throughout the show. I mean, in the comic books, we saw him briefly a couple times. You know, we saw him, like, from what we saw in the first season where Rick first finds him, that was straight out of the books. And then we see him again after Rick and them leave the prison. They reunite with him there. But the way they handled him in the show, where you get this, like, guy who's just trying to protect his son, you know, living in a house out in the suburbs, to this guy that has completely lost his nut, living above a store, like, full of booby traps, just gone crazy as shit. To see him,
excuse me, booty traps.
Yes, to see him come back around, to be saved, to be, you know, rescued by this guy who taught him the meaning of life, to see him go this whole pacifist route, then to see him kind of come back around and take everything he's learned to kind of become the character that he is now, where he's like, okay, pacifism doesn't work. I don't need to kill everybody, but there is a time and a place to kill, and a time and a place to to be peaceful. This guy is probably one of the characters that has evolved the most over the course of the series. For a character that hasn't been around the entire time, I think they've probably done the most with this character than they have with anybody else.
I believe my number 2 is the only person that has had a better arc.
Does it start with a C?
It does. It most certainly does.
Yeah.
No, number 2 is Carol.
That's my number 1.
Carol's my well, you know who my number 1 is.
Of course, I know who your number 1 is. Yeah.
But that's why Carol's my number 2. Carol's backstory is tragic. She deserves love. She survived being beaten, losing her child, so much more. I think we all want love for Carol. Maybe it's Ezekiel. Maybe it's Daryl. It doesn't matter. We just want Carol to be happy. If you want to talk about a death that no one could handle, kill Carol off and see how we feel.
I one of the things I like about Carol is the fact that they took her origins from the comic book, and then they completely flipped everything on its head. Throughout the course of the comic book, she never recovered from being this victim that she was early on. She basically committed suicide in the prison just because she didn't feel that she could ever be loved again. She'd been discarded by so many people, rejected by so many people, that she was done. The Carol in the show has, taken this heartache and this tragedy, these bad things that have happened to her, and she's used that as fuel to shape who she becomes. And she is not the character that she started out as. She has gone through like one of the biggest metamorphoses on the show, like from caterpillar to butterfly. And it's a dark butterfly, man. That woman is become very good at killing people.
Right. She's changed more than Carl, who started off at 9 years old and is now where he is. It's just
she has gone through she's gone through some major changes throughout the course of the show, and the fact that they are taking this character that died so long ago in the story, they can do so much with her now. They're not stuck to any storylines or any big plot ideas that this character had. They can do whatever they want with her, and they have done some really great stuff with the character.
I'll be interesting to see that now that the new showrunner is female, if Carol's storyline becomes more female empowered. I'd like to see.
And honestly, I'd say I think she's been very empowered as a character. Agree. Especially going the idea of this woman being a victim to taking control of her life. I mean, that's a great message for women. That's a very positive message that you can overcome this horrible shit that's happened to you, and you can take control of your life. You don't have to be the victim forever.
Yeah, there's the Daryl army of people who think that Daryl is the only unkillable person, and I think he's the most killable, one of the most killable. But Carol is untouchable.
I agree with you there.
At this point, if the TV series killed Carol, they would be shooting themselves in the foot. They would seriously, taking Melissa McBride out of The Walking Dead would be a huge mistake.
Yeah, I think her character is, and especially with some of the stuff they've done to her, like when Rick kicked her out of the group after the whole prison ordeal, to see her come back and save their lives after this group had abandoned her, she's the one that came back and rescued them. That this woman didn't hold this grudge against these people that basically threw her out to die.
Yeah, and she's what do I have written down here? She's dealt with all the problems, and she's been the mom to every kid on the show.
Yeah,
every kid that has run through that show at some point has come to Carol,
and she's even killed some of them.
She has eliminated some of them, but they had to be eliminated. She understands that sometimes you have to curb stomp a kid. Yeah, and that's just the way life goes.
And Carol is one of those people that doesn't seem to have a problem making the hard decisions.
No, she really doesn't.
People get sick in the prison. Let's fucking burn them. Let's get rid of the illness right there. Let's keep it from spreading. Kid's gonna go out and start killing some people. I'm gonna put the kid down. You never really saw her struggle with some of these. I mean, when she killed the kid, you could see the heartbreak on her face. but it didn't stop her. You know, she didn't like balk at the, you know, like, oh, you know, drop the gun. Oh, like, no, she was like, okay, boom, you're done.
No, I think once Sophia was gone, much like I said with Rick, if we got rid of Carl and Judith, it would be different because he would be living for himself.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what Carol started doing once Sophia was gone.
Yeah. But like, you know, Rick would probably have a hard time doing what Carol has done for some of the stuff. There are times where it's not a tough decision at all. Like when he like bit the guy's neck out who's gonna, you know, to keep him from saving Carl. Like, okay, that's pretty brutal. But would Rick have a problem pulling the trigger on a kid? I think so.
Rick has shown no growth whatsoever in the entire series. I mean, the character was the same now as it was in the beginning.
Pretty much.
There's nothing new about Rick Grimes. So at least Carol's, you know, evolving.
Yeah.
And changing. All right. So that number one is Michonne.
Of course.
You had to have some level of respect for her after she survived the betrayal of Judith in the Black Parade. Judas and the Black Parade.
Yeah. Jadis.
Jadis. When she gets her ass kicked up there on the sniper tower, it's a good fight. I mean, she came out of that.
It was a good fight for Jadis. I mean, it wasn't so much a good fight for Michonne.
Well, no, but she survived. She won her portion.
She survived. Yeah, she got her ass handed to her.
But she won. Mm. She didn't fall to her death.
Yeah.
Black Parade blonde woman did. So number two, there isn't a man on the show I would pick to win in a fight against her. And you can't say that about Tara, Rosita, Maggie, or even Carol.
As long as it wasn't a gunfight.
Yeah, well, she can't shoot. All right, there's that. Fine. The katana might be the greatest weapon of the apocalypse. This is the one character I am dying to open in the game I play, but it's so far away that I don't know if I'll ever make it.
Yeah,
but the katana is my favorite weapon of the apocalypse, and that's what I would go for.
Yeah, it's
workable weapon.
Melee weapons and bladed weapons are some of the best weapons to have because you don't have to worry about jamming. You don't have to worry about running out of ammo. You know,
right? But I mean, I want a gun too, but I'll have a katana on my back. Like,
yeah, I mean,
if Rick's gun goes out of his 6 shots, dumbass, get a bigger gun. Then he's got nothing. Where, you know, if you get a katana on your back, well, now you got something. So
exactly, yeah, that's why they carry knives too. But yeah, I mean, I've always liked katanas. I've always thought that's a great weapon. I mean, going back to like the Ninja Turtle days, you know, katana's always been a cool weapon. So yeah, I understand.
Anytime there's an apocalyptic situation, someone should end up with one.
Yeah, I mean,
Kill Bill.
Honestly, I'd say any sword. You know, if I had like a medieval broadsword, I'd take that just as much as I'd take a katana.
Remember all the swords on the wall at Casa Soprano?
Yeah, I do. All those swords were on the wall in Long Beach when Steve and I lived there together too.
That place was well fortified.
Yeah, it was.
All right, so that's it. My last one is aside from letting Rick put his dirty pickle in her, she's perfect.
There you go.
And that's it. That's the whole reason I hate it.
I know.
So that pretty much covers our love hate. That was a good episode. I like that one. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Next week we will be back with our recap of the mid-season premiere. Finally, wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's on during closing ceremonies of the Olympics.
Oh, is it?
For real. They went up against closing fucking ceremonies. Wow, that's bold. Okay, well, I'm sure some of us will TiVo it and get back, but yeah, are you watching the Olympics at all?
I haven't really been following.
Nah, I watch a little bit. I don't have a lot to do.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll be back next week. Until then, love many, trust few, and do harm to no one. Peace.